Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Toronto. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Frank Karsten. This is a big one, Frank. I have never seen this situation before outside of one other time in my career commentating Magic here, which is a player who has gone 15-0.
Yeah, it's an incredible performance. And this is Josh's first GP as well. He has not gone undefeated. He's not lost a match yet at this level of play. As for the decks that the players are playing, Josh is on a white-black Eldrazi deck, featuring all the good stuff in the white and black colors. He has access to Transgress the Mind and Thought-Knot Seer in order to take a look at the opponent's hand and take a good card out. Plenty of good removal spells, ranging from Grasp of Darkness to Ultimate Price, all of which can take out Archangel Avacyn. He has Anguished Unmaking and Ruinous Path to deal with any offending Planeswalkers on the other side of the board. Some card advantage, as you see here with Read the Bones, giving him some extra cards. Maybe in search of a white source that he appears to be lacking. And in the late game, Josh can set up the combo of Secure the Wastes, going into a Westville Abbey transformation, getting an Angry Ormondal on the table to win the game. It's a deck with all the right tools to dismantle any opponent that they've thrown him in front of him over the course of this weekend. In particular, Josh has beaten a lot of white-green tokens decks.
Uh-oh. That doesn't bode well for Doug Potter, does it?
Nope. Yeah, white-green tokens has been the most popular archetype on the day 2 of competition here. About 1/3 of the top table players have been running this deck. Makes sense, given that it won the PT last week.
Okay, here's a Thought-Knot Seer for Josh. And I can tell you, one of the tech things that Doug Potter has in his list here is that's going to be a Den Protector face down there for Doug Potter. And you know what he told me? He said that card has been amazing for him all weekend. Now, we all know the raw power of Den Protector, but what he said it's been doing specifically great this weekend is kill target Planeswalker.
Right.
They get so many counters on it, it's just never blockable, and it just mouths into Planeswalkers like every day. So
that's a good point. Even a face-up Den Protector would work quite well when you just boost it with Nissa or with Gideon. Maybe even a counter from Dramoka's command. That unblockability is huge when indeed there are lots of Planeswalkers going around in the current standard.
Yeah, that was their technology coming in.
Sounds good.
You know, changing the list a little bit. So interesting stuff.
So Thought-Knot Seer here.
What did it take? Secure the Wastes away?
It took Secure the Waste. Dog did not have a lot of action in hand. The other choice was a Dramoka's command, which wouldn't really do much yet. Dog doesn't have a creature big enough to fight with the Thought-Knot Seer at this point yet. So taking away that Secure the Waste makes sense.
Doug's just going to pass the turn here.
Yeah, he doesn't have any good attacks.
Also, no targets in his graveyard yet. Oh, wow. Here's Kalitas, though, for Josh. So a really nice 1-2 punch. Thought-Knot Seer into Kalitas.
Yeah, the Kalitas, the main benefit of playing it here is that it will prevent the Hangerback Walker from, well, actually dying and producing Topter tokens. If it weren't for that Kalitas, Dark could have activated his Hangerback Walker here, turned into a 3/3. Then Dramoka's command fight with the Thought-Knot Seer.
Which is what he's going to try
and get a bunch of tokens.
Now he's just going to kill Kalitas.
Yeah, which does make a lot of sense. But now Dark was not able to cash in that Hangerback Walker for a lot of tokens. He was forced to deal with Kalitas, which is fine, but still an important interaction there.
Yeah, and Doug's also set this up quite beautifully here. He's got that Den Protector now with the mana set up and a card in his graveyard to get back. Josh is going to waste no time bashing with Thought-Knot Seer here, though. Interesting. Is he just going to immediately kill the Hangerback? Oh, God, that is so brutal, right?
Yeah, Eldrazi Displacer has been doing a lot of work over the course of this weekend.
Did you see that turn? I mean,
against Hangerback Walker, it is an incredible interaction. Just 3 mana kill target Hangerback Walker. Because it just comes back as a 0/0 and dies immediately if there's no Gideon emblem on the battlefield.
Ugh.
Eldrazi Displacer, we've also seen it in some other lists in conjunction with Reflector Mage, setting up a string of bounces. And also blinking Ormondal could be huge. So Eldrazi Displacer has a lot of nice, sweet interactions in the current standard format. It's only Josh is not playing 4 copies, but a couple in the deck to get access to the effect is nice. Not long for this world, though.
All right, well, Den Protector's going to start battling it. It bought back that Dromoka's command. So there's some really cool things happening here, too. I don't know if I've told you this yet, Frank. This is not the only top 8 that Doug Potter's in right now in this building.
What?
I'm not kidding. So they run the Super Sunday Series at GPs on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
If you win that, you get to go to Seattle and play in the Super Sunday Series Championship. You can win a bunch of money. You get flown out. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a really cool event if you don't make day 2, but Doug is in day 2, right?
Right.
Did he play both events?
No, not quite. All right. By the way, we should get caught up here. There's a Gideon and a Grasp here for Josh. So another big turn for Josh in his bid to try to go 18-0, trying to get by Doug Potter here. What Doug did is he won a qualifier tournament on Friday for the Super Sunday Series that put him into the top 8.
Oh, wow.
So he was pre-qualified for the top 8 when he came in, and he now has top 8 this event also. Now, there's good news, though, okay? Doug, his top 8 draft for the Super Sunday, it's a draft, by the way, won't start until 7:30 local time. It's just past 5 o'clock. If he can play quickly and things break right, he may be able to win the GP and then go draft and win the Super Sunday Series in the same weekend.
Wow. Well, imagine that. Just arriving at the draft table, setting down your trophy of the GP, saying,
hey,
okay,
guys,
let's draft.
Yeah, let's hope I open a good card. So we'll be keeping an eye on both of these stories. I have to say, either player wins here, and we've got a really cool story on our hands. Potential glory for both. So, looks like Declaration in Stone just took out all the Thopters. Josh had played a Transgress the Mind and seen 2 Archangel Avacens.
Yep.
Took one of them. The other one's on the battlefield now. Off the top of the deck for Doug, though, is an Oath of Nissa. Now, how are you looking at the board state here? Looks like Gideon's going to die.
Yep. So, at the moment, Doug seems to be ahead. He has an Archangel Avacen that can get in unopposed, a 4/5 Sylvan Advocate that can easily block Thought-Knot Seer. Now Josh's deck has plenty of good removal spells, as we also saw on the previous turn when he cast Declaration in Stone to get rid of a bunch of Thopters. At the moment, Josh is behind, but he is just a couple cards off of getting
how about
access
that
to the
one?
board. Well, get rid of Archangel Avacen, and suddenly the game has turned around.
Now he's just way ahead now, right?
Yes, well, Doug could start pressuring up Nixilis, but Josh has the option between either chum blocking with just a 1/1 or maybe double blocking with Thought-Knot Seer and a 1/1 to get rid of it.
Those are knights from Gideon, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're
same
2/2s.
difference in this case, but just to be clear.
Yeah, good point. But one way or another, Josh definitely wants to be able to protect his Planeswalker here, because that is the card on the table that will allow him to get ahead. Currently the board is kind of even except for the Planeswalker, but Up Nixilis now allows Josh to draw 2 cards a turn. There's also a Seagate Wreckage, which if Josh empties his hand, may allow him to draw an additional card every turn.
Here's the Blighted Fen, by the way, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to go ahead and activate it. Oh, what a blowout, though. Doug Potter had the Secure the Waste to really minimize that play. The coast looked clear from Josh's standpoint. I liked his play there a lot. He was going to force through a bunch of damage, but Doug is going to kind of get him here. That top-decked Secure the Waste, very good
huge
for Doug. Whoa. That also is going to allow him to kill Ob Nixilis.
Yeah, at this point, Josh may be regretting that he didn't use the Blighted Fen on, say, Dog's upkeep. Because now Dog was able to respond with a Secure the Waste, which is really good for Dog and not good for Josh.
If Josh just says go, it puts Doug in an awkward position because he wants to fire off and use up his mana, but if he does, then Josh can say in response and then make sure that the Advocate dies. We'll see how much that ends up mattering.
Yeah, at the same time, it made a lot of sense to use it in the main phase because,
Here's
as you mentioned, it
Ormondal.
would set up a big attack with Thought-Knot Seer.
Exactly. Here's Ormondal, though, from Josh. excuse me, from Doug as he rumbles, and I don't think he's even bothering with Obnixilis. I think he just says, look, Josh, you've got a turn to kill this Ormondal. Or make your own. Josh is going to have legitimate rips here, though. He does have Declaration in Stone. He's also got Anguished Unmaking in the deck, and he has 2 draw steps to find it if he didn't have it already.
He's going to need it right now, though. I don't think his life total got updated yet, but it is.
Yeah, that's right. He just
almost
took
certainly
9.
down to 7.
God, you did that math in your head?
Yeah, 16 minus 9.
Well done.
Like Josh does have a Shambling Vent to gain 2 additional points of life, but it still won't get him out of an Ormondal range.
Yeah, he's down to 6 off of the Obnixilis activation, too. This is the big moment. Okay, well, now that actually will gain him enough life.
Yep, so that means that he won't die on this turn yet.
I guess he's just going to kill the Advocate?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Well, you need to activate Sorin to gain life in order to get out of Ormondal range, and there's no other real target
so there you go.
to use here.
So Advocate down, attack for 6. Fortunately, he's not going to be able to race Ormondal thanks to lifelink, but Doug is out of gas. So does Doug just hit Josh again and say, look, you get basically 2 more rips at it here? Yes.
3 draw steps, actually. Obnixilis activation.
You're right.
Sorin activation and a draw step.
But Anguish Unmaking no longer an out here.
Yeah, good point. Well, let's see. With a Shambling Vent activation.
That would put him to 4. Would he have the mana? Yeah, maybe it would actually.
Yeah, but then he cannot activate Obnixilis. Right now he's down to 1, so even Anguished Unmaking, taking into account the Shambling Vent life gain, won't do it.
Oh, he doesn't find it. Josh finally loses a game here. He's not out, though. He's just down a game to Doug Potter. Man, that whole game really swung on that Secure the Waste, didn't it?
Oh, yes.
Drawing that for Doug Potter was so huge. I mean, he got some extra value from the Blighted Fen, but just the fact that he had that card made it so that he was back in the driver's seat. You can see that our players have got deckless here as well.
Yeah, they get access to this in the top 8 in order to level the playing field for everyone, just so everyone knows what they are up against. Now, just a quick look, then the deck lists are away and onto sideboarding. Yeah, this combo between Secure the Wastes and Westville Abbey has been impressing me all weekend. We've seen Josh win several rounds on this engine.
Totally.
And it
comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it allows you to win games that seemed unwinnable even. Because looking at the board before that Ormondal came down, Josh seemed to be way ahead. He was activating Obnixilis, drawing 2 cards a turn. If the game would have gone long, also that land that would have allowed him to draw extra cards. Just that Doug said, hey, here is an Ormondal. And even though Josh's deck contains several ways to deal with it, he didn't have a lot of time to find them. And maybe in this kind of matchup, you just have to hold on to cards like Declaration and Stone, never play out the last one, always keep it for Ormondal. Then again, if you do that, then you may just lose to whatever is on the board.
Especially in this matchup where there's enough tokens around that the Declaration and Stone really looks like a premium removal spell where it's taking out 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens with no downside. It's pretty tempting.
Mm-hmm.
I really like keeping the Anguish Unmaking around if at all possible, though, because as long as your life total is reasonably high, that's an instant speed answer to Ormondal, and it's one of the few. There's not a lot of ways to deal with that card.
No, it's that. It's Stasis Snare. If you're playing green, you may have access to Clip Wings.
Yep.
And, well, don't forget that Josh's deck still has access to Eldrazi Displacer. If he has that card on the battlefield, then a simple blink and that Demon Prince turns back into a good old Westville Abbey.
Yeah, and fortunately you're down the 5 creatures and mana that you've dumped into it.
Yeah, nice work, Cultists.
Ooh, I can't wait to see this next game. Again, it's a crazy set of circumstances we have here in Toronto. For those of you just joining us, Josh on the left-hand side of the screen has yet to lose a match in his first GP ever. He's playing his first Grand Prix. He's 15-0, and now looking to try to run it up. We've never had anybody go wall-to-wall, just end-to-end, 18-0, bring up the trophy. It's never happened. Josh is looking to be the first, and he would be doing it in his first Grand Prix ever. Now, on the other side of the table, Doug Potter is in one of 2 top 8s that he's in this weekend. He somehow qualified on Friday for the Super Sunday Series draft top 8, which starts local time in about 2 hours. And he finds himself in the top 8 of the Grand Prix as well. He's going to have to see what happens if the time bleeds over and, just play this one out and hope that he gets a chance. But, in the case that this goes quickly and well for him, he could find himself winning both. He could win a Super Sunday Series invitation and a GP in the same day within an hour of each other or something. So
one could call that a successful weekend.
Agreed.
Winning all there is to win at the entire GP venue.
Yeah, if he won a side draft, he just retire from Magic forever.
Then again, if he makes it to the finals, I would reckon that this Super Sunday Series event is not going to be at the forefront of his mind.
I think you're right, though. It is interesting to consider because getting to that Super Sunday Series, there is a big cash prize at that, and a free trip out to Renton, where Wizards of the Coast is located. I mean, I agree with you.
Getting a tour of the company that makes the game is quite cool.
Yeah, and they take good care of the players out there. I was there doing a little bit of video work at the Super Sunday Series this year, and I've covered it before, and I'm telling you, it's a really, really fun trip for the players. Like you said, they get to check out the headquarters and do all that stuff. So, but yeah, come on, you're in the finals of a GP. He's going to be dialed in on that.
So game 2 about to get underway. Well, Josh is undefeated, as we mentioned, 15-0, but he has definitely lost some games over the course of the tournament. Coming back from a Game 1 loss wouldn't be the first for him. And, well, as we mentioned, Josh has been beating on white-green tokens deck all weekend, so he certainly showed that his deck is capable of doing that. He also is super experienced in this matchup, of course, because he has been playing it for so many times. So Josh will know how this matchup will likely go, how he has to sideboard, and so on. Whereas, flipping the tables for Doug, this might be actually the first time that he's up against a white-black deck. So Doug may not be as familiar with the matchup. Sure, he knows his deck very well, but he may not have the experience in navigating through all the white-black removal and disruption cards, and how to do that in the best way. He may have to learn on the fly.
This is a deck that Josh built.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Randy said this is like his build. So yeah, he's going to have to learn it. And he does have the deck list, like you said, so he's going to be able to kind of have a map, but that doesn't mean that he knows necessarily how to work his way through. So
yep. Yeah, white-black decks have been around in Standard for quite a while.
Yeah.
But you have so many options in this color combination, ranging from going more on Eldrazi, maybe a more aggressive variant with Knight of the White Orchid and whatnot, maybe a more controlling variant with Languish, maybe some more Planeswalkers, or a token angle, Archangel Evacyn, yes, no. Well, Josh pretty much has all of those cards, well, except for Archangel Evacyn. And his deck list is filled with 1-offs, 2-offs, 3-offs. He's definitely left his own distinctive mark on this white-black archetype.
Okay, Doug Potter looks like took a mulligan, but kept here. Nothing on turn 1 for him, but it's not uncommon. And Transgress the Mind is going to get Josh a good look at what Doug's working with here.
It misses.
Lands. He's only got 1 non-land spell. No creatures to back up that evolutionary leap. And Doug is going to have a lot of work to do off the top of that library, because we have seen that Josh's deck, while disrupting, can absolutely apply pressure as well. The Thought-Knot Seers and stuff, those hit hard. Doug points at the Transgress, probably saying, I play around it. Oh, he just drew a Hangerback Walker right off the top.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been exiled by the Transgress either.
No, but it's action.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's at least a benefit of mulliganing down to 6. Now that Doug did not lose a card to Transgress the Mind, it's kind of like Josh also mulliganed down to 6.
Yeah, and took his second turn
evening the
off.
game. Yeah.
And Josh is going to pass the turn back here on turn 3 with no play.
Yeah, Josh's deck is not that aggressive. He doesn't have all that many early plays, so that's not super surprising.
Yeah, he could have a removal spell here. Does not.
And removing a hangerback walker when there's an evolutionary leap on the battlefield also doesn't really get you all that far ahead.
No, this is actually, that hangerback was a nice rip for Doug. All right, well, here we go. Gideon now for Josh. He's going to make a 2-2 knight, pass the turn back. Yeah, that's some business.
I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up into an Ormondal battle. Both Josh and Doug have access to Westville Abbey. Both of them have access to Gideon, which threatens to make a string of tokens. And, well, if the game goes long, we might just see a Westville Abbey transformation on both sides of the board.
Well, I think we're going to see a Gideon from Potter here. No, I'm wrong.
Interesting.
He's got one in his hand, but he just passes and does nothing. He prefers to put a counter on his hangerback walker rather than play Gideon, huh?
Yeah, that's an interesting choice since it doesn't really maximize his mana. When you have evolutionary leap on the battlefield, it's always nice to be able to maximize the mana that you have available. But Doug, yeah, he just wants to maximize the hangerback walker here.
Okay, so yeah, we can see what Doug's plan was for the turn here. Josh is going to target Anguish Unmaking on the evolutionary leap. Doug's going to respond by putting a counter on his hangerback and then sacrificing it to the leap. And it looks like he's just going to go for the... Look, so this is what Doug's plan was. He's cashing in the Thopters now.
Ah.
Yeah, so he just wanted to reload his hand with creatures. When he comes to his 5th turn, he wants to just look down and see 3 creatures in his hand that he can choose to cast. And that's what's going to happen here, at least 2. He's got a Linvala and now a Sylvan Advocate as well. So even though the Evolutionary Leap is going away, Doug's really leveraging it as a card draw spell here and making sure that he has a lot of action. I like that play. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
He did leave one Thopter around.
Yeah, the Thopter may start to attack Gideon or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He already got a Sylvan Advocate and a Linvala along with the Gideon in hand. So he has plays locked up for the next 3 turns at least. So keeping that one Thopter around is probably more valuable than setting up another play for 4 turns down the road.
In the meantime, Josh is going to get aggressive here and attack for 7. Doug says, bring it on. Goes down to 13.
Now Doug will be able to turn the tide of the game with that Linvala on the next turn. He may have to navigate closely to ensure that he gets some value out of it. So Linvala, which would cost 6 mana, can give you an additional creature if at the time you cast her and she enters the battlefield, you have fewer creatures on the battlefield than the opponent. At this point, Doug has way more creatures. So maybe not be able to get some value out of the Linvala.
Is this Doug pulling ahead? Is he going to be the first one to hand Josh's first loss of the weekend?
Well, this game is still pretty close. If Josh can add stuff to the board over the course of the next few turns, then Josh may be able to set up a Westville Abbey transformation, and Doug doesn't appear to have a great answer against that except for a Westville Abbey of his own. At the same time, Josh is the one activating the more powerful Planeswalker here in Gideon, whereas Doug just has a Nissa. So the game is still pretty close. Doug's hand may be a little better at this point, but just looking at the current board state, Josh is ahead slightly.
Okay. Yeah, Josh activated his Gideon, attacked with both, prompted a double chump block from Potter. I kind of assume that he's attacking Doug, but I don't actually know if he attacked Nissa or Doug. He didn't give a physical indication.
With Doug still at 13 life, I would expect that it makes sense to attack Nissa here. Nissa threatens to make a plant every turn that can jump block Gideon turn after turn. That is a relevant Planeswalker on the board, and I would expect that Josh would love to get rid of it.
And you mentioned this Linvala a turn ago, and he is going to get full value here. Or, sorry, he's not going to quite get full value here.
No, when Linvala enters the battlefield, there is 1 creature on both sides of the board.
Yeah.
So you don't get a free extra flyer out of the deal. But Doug was at a lower life total than Josh, which means that he does get to gain 5 life from Linvala. Down.
Was that an Anguish Unmaking on Linvala?
Yes, it was.
All right. Well, the pressure is definitely on. That life gain could be really important for Doug here.
Yeah, Josh's deck is filled with so many efficient removal cards.
Yeah.
Anguished Unmaking in particular. It does a lot of work for his deck. He does have to keep a close eye on his life total, but so far Doug has not been pressuring the life total that much. And then Anguished Unmaking is just such an excellent removal card.
This is kind of interesting. I don't know if you caught this, but he attacked with a knight against Nissa. It got blocked. Then post-combat, he made an emblem with Gideon. Is he setting up for a Secure the Waste, maybe?
That's certainly possible. Or alternatively, just for some long game. Aha, value.
Oh, Hollowed Moonlight.
So any tokens that would enter the battlefield here, well, are not going to. Not this turn at least. And now Doug may be a little bit defenseless.
Oh, it is a Secure the Waste, though.
Wow.
He may have just found it.
Yep.
As I wonder if he would have preferred just to have all the creatures. In any case, he's going to make, what was it, 3?
Yep. 3 tokens from...
but he can't.
Oh, of course,
no,
because
Frank.
Hallowed Moonlight counts for both
It counts
players.
for him, doesn't it?
Yeah, he should have played it in response to his own Hallowed Moonlight, or first at least. That's a painful misstep.
Oh, God, that's terrible. Those were going to be 2/2s.
Yep.
He must have thought that it was only for his opponent's creatures, or it just slipped his mind. Wow. Okay, so now he has to recover, right? I mean, this is the really hard part. You're under the cameras. You're going for 8-0. You make a mistake. Now he has to refocus, and it's so difficult to do. You know, you feel that. It's so painful. I mean, we've all made mistakes like that, and it just hurts. You're like, why did I do that?
Yeah,
I know what the card does, and I still did that. And he's got to try to get himself together.
Yeah, but these mistakes are just part of the game. It happens to everyone, even the best players. Just have to take a deep breath and then reevaluate the situation from scratch and just make the best plays from that point on. Ignore what you did so far. It happens, and then make the best of it. And so far, Josh still seems to have the better board position.
He does indeed, and this Wasteland Strangler is going to add to that as well. Looks like he's going to go ahead and process something. He actually has to decide. Remember, we did see Den Protectors in Game 1 here.
All right.
Not sure what they're reading about here, but... Oh, they're trying to decide when it gets targeted. Okay, here's an ultimate price, though. This will not save the knight.
No, it won't. But Doug did play Avacyn in response, so that the knight would still die. It gets -3/-3, even indestructible dies, and it would trigger Avacyn to enable a transformation on the next turn. That's why Doug played it in response here. So smart timing, but ultimate price said no. Josh is still super far ahead in this game. Now Gideon is gonna bite the dust. Doug has pretty much no board.
Was that a Secure the Waste off the top?
That would be one of the few ways that Doug can still get back into this game.
This happened in Game 1 also.
Yep.
He ripped that, and then he made an Ormondal, and I think that's exactly what he drew here.
Yeah, pretty much the only card that he can have, but if Doug has it, it might be nearly enough to win the game, actually.
It is a Secure the Waste for Doug Potter. Wow, what an insane top deck for Doug again.
So that's 8 tokens, which means that he can use 2 or 3 to line up some chump blocks and stay alive for this turn, and then still have enough to transform the Westfall Abbey on his next turn.
Oh, man. Oh, man. This could have been the game. Josh Buitenhuis so close there, and once again, the card that has really been great to him all day, Secure the Waste, betrays him, jumps into Doug Potter's hand, and it looks like Doug may be able to put himself in a spot to leverage the Secure the Waste into a victory.
Well, it's still far from over yet.
Indeed.
Doug had to block 3 creatures, otherwise he would have died, all thanks to the Gideon emblem. And now, sure, he can transform Westfall Abbey, but if he attacks, then he is almost certainly dead on the swing back.
He goes up to 13. He takes
that's not
5,
enough.
6, 7, 8,
Josh
9,
attacks
10.
for more.
Absolutely more. So he's going to have to try to set up a defensive Ormondal here and just create a board stall?
Yes, it looks like that. However, if Doug goes for that line, all he has is like an Ormondal that may fend off Josh's attack for several turns. But Josh still has Westfall Abbey of his own. He can start to make tokens. Josh is still at a healthy 14 life.
Good point, and he just did that, by the way, Frank.
And eventually Josh can have an Ormondal of his own as well, along with a bunch of other attackers to eventually set up a lethal attack, even through an opposing Ormondal. And remember, those tokens that he's making, they're 2/2s thanks to Gideon emblem. Maybe there could be another Gideon emblem coming down on this turn, because
good point.
Josh is probably not interested in attacking into a life-linking Ormondal. And a crazy play that we might actually see on the next turn potentially is that Josh attacks with 6 creatures. Dog then blocks 1 with Ormondal. And Josh then sacrifices the blocked creature along with 4 others to Westfall Abbey to transform it, such that the Ormondal that Dog would have on the table at that point doesn't have a creature to deal damage to anymore.
Doug has nothing in his hand but a land, at least as far as I could see there. And I do believe that Josh has just passed the turn back here.
Yeah, he's made a token with Gideon.
And shipped it.
Rather than an emblem, and I guess that makes sense. When you have Westfall Abbey, you'd rather just have an additional creature on the battlefield.
So Potter says, yeah, I'm going to go for it, though. Ormondal Profane Prince. He's going to cash in his board state here.
Yeah, he's going to have to do that one way or another, so might as well use your mana now, and then if you draw, say, an Archangel Avacyn on the next turn, you can at least cast it.
How about a Plains?
Just a land.
And his draw has not been super amazing, but that one Secure the Waste was absurd. Ormondal is going to attack. Can Josh make an Ormondal in response?
Josh could if he wants to.
Not a big point to. He's going to go up to 13.
A Dog can make 1 chump blocker, would fall down to 12 life with that Westfall Abbey, blocking the Thought-Knot Seer. So if Josh adds a 1/1 token from Westfall Abbey to the board, will that be 12 damage in total? I see 4, 2, that's 6, 12. Yes, this should be enough if my calculations are correct.
And they always are.
Not always.
No, in my experience. See if Josh sees it.
Yeah, this was kind of an aggressive attack by Dog, because he left himself effectively dead on board. Maybe a bit of a bluff.
Could be.
To bluff, maybe Secure the Waste, but Josh is not really in a position to play around that, not when an Ormondal is attacking.
Okay, so he says, I'm going to block the Thought-Knot Seer, but that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
It's enough.
And Doug says, oops. Wow, what a game. What a crazy, exciting game. And, of course, we get game 3 here between these two gentlemen. Yeah.
Ormondal doing all the work in this top 8.
No kidding.
Unreal.
I'll tell you, depending on who wins this and how this goes, I could see Doug Potter, framing his copy of Secure the Waste on the wall. I could also see Josh walking outside and just stepping on that copy of Hollowed Moonlight in his deck, depending on how it goes. Now, make sure you tune in, by the way, to the Magic Online Championships. The MOX is what we call it for short in the Magic community. But the Magic Online Championship is in a couple weeks' time from Seattle, and you get to watch what is ultimately the field got very, very stacked for that. It always is. You have to win so many tough tournaments to get to qualify for that it's always filled with good players. But we've even got some big name players this time. We've got Sam Black. He's going to be there. Magnus Lantos going to be back to defend his title. Jerry Thompson's there. Mike Sigrist. Like, this is no joke.
Yep. And then, of course, a lot of players who qualified via Magic Online who will be eager to take their chance to prove their mettle at the game.
Right, and we've seen that be a strong proving ground in the past. All right, so let's get ready for game 3 here. Who's it going to be, gentlemen? We've got Josh, who is going for 18-0. He's trying to be the first player to do it, and hey, wasted no time doing it his first ever Grand Prix. If he does, he's already 15-0. Absolutely. And Doug Potter on the other side of the table is looking to try to win the GP, then go draft in the Super Sunday Series and win that on the same Sunday.
Yeah, the clock is ticking down. That draft is starting in approximately 1.5 hours.
2 hours.
Maybe 2. I guess he still has time.
Yeah. Yeah, he should play a little faster for his own benefit.
So far the games have been going by at a reasonable pace.
Yeah, but he doesn't have time for reasonable.
Ormondal makes sure of that the game doesn't take all that many turns. But if this matchup would again end up in a battle of Ormondals, then Josh does have the upper hand here, because his deck is filled with ways to deal with an Ormondal on the other side of the board. Eldrazi Displacer, Declaration in Stone, Anguished Unmaking. So that will give him several tools to deal with a 9/7 lifelinking Demon Prince, whereas Doug Potter, he doesn't really have many ways to get around it. He has some Declaration in Stone in his sideboard if he boarded that in.
I like the handshake there too. These guys know that this is a big match here for both of them.
Oh yeah. Not a lot of lands in Doug Potter's opening hand. He has to go down to 6. He can't risk keeping a 1-lander, especially not in such an important game. Josh, meanwhile, appears to be perfectly happy with his opening hand. Josh only lives about an hour away from here. He just drove in for this GP, set up camp in the feature match area.
Yeah, Doug's from Edmonton. He's from significantly further than an hour away from here.
Okay.
Doug's got a 9th place finish at a GP back in 2006. He's been playing Magic for a long time, and he, really has made some good runs in the past. Like I said, he actually ended up stepping away from the game a bit to go to school. No lands? Okay, he got there.
No, there's some. It's a good mix. 3 lands, 3 creatures, some Den Protectors for value. None of the high impact cards in Doug's hand yet. It's just 3 lands, 2 Den Protector, and a Sylvan Advocate. So no Gideon, no Archangel Evacin, no Secure the Waste, Westfall Abbey combo inside yet. But it's a fine curve. It's a bunch of creatures, some value with Megamorph. A perfectly serviceable 6-card opening hand.
God, who is going to win this thing? This is a good start here for Doug Potter. He kicks things off with a Sylvan Advocate to start applying pressure. And here's Transgress the Mind, which is going to whiff again. Wow. Those Transgresses have not been kind to Josh.
No, they're still quite decent in a matchup in order to take out key cards like Gideon or Archangel Evacin, but not in this match today.
Passes the turn back. This is good news for Doug Potter. He's trying to unseat the king here. Josh, it's been his weekend so far. Here's Den Protector now for Doug. He's going to crunch in, knock him down to 18 and pass the turn back.
Yeah, so far things are going well for Doug. Doug did get a look at the deck list before the match started. He could have seen that there are 3 copies of Languish in Josh's 75. Doug does not know whether or not those languages are in Josh's deck still at this point, but always a card to keep in mind when you just have a bunch of creatures and no planeswalkers.
A nice play here, though, for Josh. He's really holding his breath and hoping he doesn't see a Dromoka's command on the other side, but he won't.
Nope.
Oath of Nissa.
Yeah, he didn't see any with that transgress the mind, so it makes sense not to play around it.
He didn't see those Secure the Waste come in either, did he?
True. Just a land with the Oath of Nissa. Doug would have preferred to hit some more impactful card like Gideon or Evacin, but at least he gets those lands off the top of his deck.
Kind of cool. Doug's actually just offering the trade here. It would be a pretty big tempo hit against Doug. But at the same time, Josh knows that worst case scenario, he can just start blinking those, turning them into little mini Den Protectors rather than the Megamorph versions.
Yeah, Josh had seen Doug's hand, so Josh knew that there was another Den Protector coming up. If Josh had just blocked here and Doug would have unmorphed Den Protector to trade for the Eldrazi Displacer, then Josh would have given Doug an opportunity to set up a Den Protector, unmorph, getting back the Den Protector from the graveyard line on the next turn.
And here comes that loop, yeah.
Yeah, setting up that value chain, which is not a great position for Josh to be in. So I like the no block there.
Transgress, he's just going to take a shot at it. I think he knows that it's very unlikely that he hits anything. He must just have nothing better to do for the turn. Got to assume he's going to miss his land drop. No, looks like he's got a land.
Yeah, but this does not bode well for Josh here. If this is the play, he knew, of course, that there was a small likelihood of actually hitting a card here. I think Josh had Gideon in hand, but no untapped land to play it on this turn. Yeah, it's not
He gives up the ability to use his displacer by making that play, though. He had to know that it was a very low chance to hit.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded just a pass the turn there, because as you say, the Eldrazi displacer blink may be quite valuable.
Start blinking Den Protectors isn't even that bad, right?
No, especially if they are blocked by Eldrazi Displacer, then you keep your Displacer alive to block, say, the Sylvan Advocate on the next turn.
It also just means you're just taking less damage. And now, kind of a neat interaction, too, is that Oath of Nissa, since it's legendary, hits the graveyard, and it has something to get back for Potter, who's quite happy just to get anything back from his yard at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And Potter is pulling ahead, further and further ahead of Josh. He's going to need a Haymaker. Wow, that's too secure the waste going to the bottom of the library, and another land in the hand for Doug. So that's good news for Josh. That last turn wasn't good enough, and he really needs to solidify a board position here.
Indeed, he does. At this point, Doug is pretty far ahead. Those Den Protectors that he added as kind of an innovation to his deck list are doing a lot of work in this matchup, presenting a big attacker that can attack into Eldrazi Displacer. Okay, this is nice. Blink the Den Protector. Oh, wow, what a blowout. Den Protector got turned from a morph into an actual face-up Den Protector, and then there were two creatures with the same name on the battlefield.
Okay, a couple of clue tokens for Doug Potter means that he can recoup that loss a little bit later, but in the meantime, board stabilized for Josh. He just drew Archangel Avacyn, did Doug Potter. Does he have land number 6? Absolutely. And this is going to be a big problem here, Frank. 4 damage to turn. He's dropping down to 7 immediately. And with Archangel Avacyn there as well, that's kind of funny. You saw Doug pick up 2 lands like, maybe I'll crack a clue. Nah, I'll just wait. Don't think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, Josh doesn't know about the Avacyn that's coming up.
No, he did his best.
Not that he can really do all that much about it. At this point, Josh is trying to defend against the Sylvan Advocate first and trying to solidify his board position.
Oh, this is huge for Doug Potter. He plays the Archangel Avacyn. He's getting close. Another one off the top. Perhaps not the best draw.
No, it's pretty good because the first Archangel Avacyn is winning the game for Doug Potter at this point. So even if Josh finds a removal spell for that first Archangel Avacyn...
Oh, it's his insurance policy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, Josh is already at 7 life. He may lose in 2 attacks to that Archangel Avacyn.
To one of the other Archangel Avacyns?
Yep.
Yeah, good point. Is the run going to end here for Josh? 15-0 in the Swiss, trying to go 18-0, but he may be near the end here for him. He's going to chump block.
All right, Doug is...
Doug decided to attack Gideon there.
That's not completely unreasonable. Doug's position here is pretty good. So he may just want to play around Josh drawing a string of removal spells to take out the Avacyns. Because if Josh would do that, then Doug would not be happy if there's still a Gideon on Josh's side of the board.
Fair.
It gives Josh 1 additional turn to find his way out of it, but so far Doug's position is, well, I would dare to say overwhelming.
This one, it looks like it's slipping away from Josh. Doug Potter he's gonna start having to look at his clock here to see if he can make it to the draft, if he's going to get by Josh here.
Josh has his work cut out for him here. Maybe with a Secure the Wastes plus Westfall Abbey combo, he could come back into this game.
Could be.
But right now, Josh doesn't have any good blocks for the next attack. Sure that Eldrazi Displacer can block the Knight Allied token, but then there's still 4, 8, 13 damage coming his way.
Oof.
He can blink 1 or 2 creatures if he so pleases, but if Josh just spends his mana blinking creatures while still taking damage, that's not a great way to win the game either. I believe Josh has a Gideon in hand, but that doesn't really get him ahead either.
No, he does. You're right, and it doesn't. He's going to pass the turn back to Doug Potter, who could be just a turn or two away from unseating Josh here. Looks like Gideon emblem for Potter.
Now the Gideon emblem means that the Knight ally token can now attack into the Eldrazi Displacer.
Yeah, so Josh is probably going to have to blink that, right? And it looks like he can go for the old block and blink. Activate Shambling Vents.
That would work. Maybe a double block on Sylvan Advocate is also not going to work because the Advocate is now a 5/6.
Yep. So I think he's just going to chump block the Advocate, blink the Knight ally, take 4 and cross his fingers. Excuse me, take 5 and cross his fingers.
Yeah, he still needs to draw something really good here. He needs first kind of an answer to the Archangel Eversin that threatens to win the game for Dog on the next attack step, and then some way to get ahead on the board. I mean, sure, if Dog does nothing for the rest of the game, then just a bunch of Eldrazi Displacer blinks will allow Josh to stabilize, but Dog still has some action left in hand.
It's working out pretty nicely for Doug as well. He can play a face-down Den Protector and still have Archangel Avacyn mana available too.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really tough for Josh to pull out this game 3 and continue his epic run here in Toronto. Even if he loses here, though, still super sick. 15-0 in the Swiss.
Oh, yeah.
Pro Tour invite, top 8 his first GP. It's hard to look back on that.
Heads off to him.
Yeah. But Doug Potter is a tough customer. He's played a lot of Magic in his day.
That Archangel Eversin is looking to win the game on the next turn for Doug. Josh still has some Eldrazi Displacer mana, but as I mentioned, if you're just spending your mana to blink 2 creatures and then still have to contend with a third attacker, that's not a way to develop your board and get to a way to win the game. Gideon still doesn't help against Archangel Eversin. What Josh needs is first up a removal spell for the Archangel, and then some other way to stabilize on the board. Little does he know that Dog has another Archangel Eversin as a backup.
Wow, he did find a declaration in stone here. Archangel Avacyn is going to get exiled. Josh is like, oh, that worked? Okay.
Fine. Another clue.
Another clue. Sure, have it. That thing doesn't kill me.
And now Dog is thinking, okay, tap out, tap out, tap out.
Exactly.
Just do nothing, then I can slam our Archangel Eversin and win for the 4 final damage.
But he's not going to tap out. He's going to pass the turn back. And there's Archangel Avacyn from Doug Potter. That is lethal.
Well, that's still pretty good.
Josh needs to have an answer. He doesn't have it. And Doug Potter unseats the king and moves on to the semifinals. Fantastic run, Josh. I know everybody was rooting for you in the chat after such a sweet 15-0 streak in the Swiss. It was not to be today, but still awesome stuff. And congratulations to Doug Potter, who now is really going to start looking at his clock. I wonder if he can go ask, hey, do you guys mind waiting a little for me? Or again, Doug Potter is in the Super Sunday Series top 8 here in Toronto, and he's got about an hour and a half before it begins, and he needs to get through 2 more matches and wait for any of the other ones to finish if he's going to go find his seat and try to do the, I'm not going to say the impossible, but my goodness, the prospect of winning both of those in one day is pretty daunting, and I'm going to be really curious to see if he can pull it off.
I can already envision him cutting the winner interview short, saying, yes, sorry guys, I have a draft to do.
Can you walk with me? No kidding. All right, well, it looks like we've got turbo match. John Stern, who did make the top 8, as you can see here, and got himself back onto the Pro Tour as a result. Big cheer from his fans in the building when they announced his name for the top 8, because he he's a professional Magic player, and he's not on the PT, and that's something that's really tough for those guys. And getting himself back on there was a big deal. So
yes,
now let's see if he can run this up and win a GP.
Yep. And as for a matchup, this is a matchup between two decks that are nearly green-white tokens. John Stern is actually playing green-white tokens, a list very close to the one that won the Pro Tour last weekend, accepted 4 copies of Lampold Pacifist in the main deck, which is in this game already turned into an angry 4/4 Lampold Butcher. Michael Shang is also playing white-green tokens with a small splash of red. He has 2 copies of Chandra Flamecaller in his main deck, which, thanks to Oath of Nissa, you can fairly easily put on the battlefield, in addition to 3 copies of Radiant Flames in his sideboard. So that gives him some extra angles in various matchups, and not to forget Needle Spires as a creature land.
Can tell you that we do have a match update as well from Brett Tetley. What was his first name? I'm sorry. I did him round on him earlier. Anyway, Tetley versus 2. That's Oliver 2 against Brett Tetley. Oliver won.
All right. So that's Grixis control over white-black control.
Yeah, he's in 2-1. He beats Tetley and puts himself into the semifinals. And Oliver 2 just refuses to lose.
All right. Well, meanwhile, we're having a battle between Secure the Wastes on John's side of the board against a Gideon for Michael Shang. Given that Michael only has 1 creature to defend his Gideon with, John could attack all out on the Gideon with all of his 1/1s and get that Planeswalker off of the table. Alright. So it looks like a Dramoka's command is going to take down both the Night Alert token, and I would have to... No, wait, the destroy an enchantment or sacrifice an enchantment is not really going to help all that much, because Michael can just sacrifice Oath of Nissa. So putting a +1/+1 counter on the Sylvan Advocate is going to be more valuable here. And yeah, the Dramoka's command meant that that John didn't lose any creatures to the 2/2. Declaration in Stone, meanwhile, is a nice answer to Secure the Wastes.
This board looks a little lopsided right now.
Well,
Planeswalker plant versus creature. I don't know. Maybe it's pretty even.
The board looked way in favor of John Stern on the previous turn, but the Declaration in Stone was a big swing.
Yeah, and that's a big hit against these token strategies.
Yep.
And this is about to get pretty good for Michael Shang. Check this out.
That's good, but is there an Archangel Avacyn coming? Oh, yeah.
Yep. I'll cancel that order. That's pretty good.
Every time these white-green decks pass with 5 mana up, it's always Archangel Avacyn time.
It's just 100%. I don't think we've missed yet.
So if John has a way to boost his Archangel, he may be able to take out Nissa in 1 hit. Looks like John does not have such a card. No Gideon, no Nissa, no Dramoka's command to turn Archangel Avacyn into a 5/5. Not that it is necessary. Both creatures entering the red zone here. The plant is an easy chump block for the Sylvan Advocate, or maybe, the Hangerback Walker. Yeah, by chump blocking with Hangerback Walker, Michael now gets 2 tokens that can chump block Archangel Avacyn over the next few turns.
Oh, sure.
Which means that he has some additional time to keep his Planeswalker around and get some more value out of that. Nice block by Michael Shang there.
Looks like he's got a pair of Sylvan Advocates in his hand as well.
Sylvan Advocate in combination with Needle Spires, that's a sweet combo. With 2
wow.
Sylvan Advocates, the
Whoa,
Needle Spires is going to be...
6 power double strike?
Oh, yes.
That's a way to end a game quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen that one yet. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, John may have a 5/6 Sylvan Advocate over here, but Needle Spires is still going to beat up on that. John appears to be out of gas, and Michael is drowning in chump blockers. Let's see how Michael wants to set up his attack on this turn. That Needle Spires can definitely get in there.
Oh, yeah.
The Sylvan Advocates currently do not really want to attack.
How about a Gideon? And it looks like Michael's just going to keep on building out his board state here. He's got those 2 key planeswalkers. He has a 3rd planeswalker in this list. This is the difference between him and the green-white tokens deck. He plays Chandra as well.
Yep. Yeah, but at the moment, Nissa and Gideon, the tag team, is enough to win from Michael. He can jump block once more to protect his planeswalkers. And then on the next turn, maybe use some boosts from the planeswalkers to turn his creatures into a big size, start attacking with the Needle Spires. I would say that Michael is ahead here. Michael doesn't have an answer to the Archangel Everson yet, but so far Michael has a good board state.
Okay. He's trying to turn the corner on this game, but it is not easy. John Stern has proven very tough throughout the course of the weekend as well. Looked like he was way behind in a few of his matches, and he still found the victory. Emblem now, as Gideon hits the bin for Michael Sheng. Ooh, Declaration in Stone, though.
Even just taking out the Archangel Everson rather than 2 Sylvan Advocates. Oh, back up Everson.
He had one in his hand. So he's actually fine with that then.
Yeah, the Declaration in Stone was actually beneficial for John Stern.
Got him a card.
Yeah.
Huh. No more flying blockers now for Michael Sheng, right?
No more.
We're going to see Nissa get gobbled up here by Archangel Avacyn?
Certainly looks that way.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Sylvan Advocates did not seem to attack.
Oh, wow. Did you see that? That was Hangerback Walker for 0. Transform my Avacyn, knock out all of those little tiny creatures, leaving you with just these 2 advocates. But this is a big attack.
John, let's see. So this Needle Spires is currently 6 power double strike.
Yeah.
John has the option of, say, double blocking it, or just blocking the Sylvan Advocates. Well, I certainly like the block of...
Take 12? Wow. John's life total must have been quite high there.
I think one of the Sylvan Advocates should still live. I think there was a Sylvan Advocate with a +1/+1 counter versus a Sylvan Advocate with an emblem on Michael's side.
That's how I saw it too.
All right, but this is a turbo match. It's
we
recorded.
Yep. So we're just going to go on and assume that we overlook something or...
Yeah, this game got turned around quite easily. Michael was doing a lot of work with his planeswalkers, making big creatures, big lands, but, you know, a second Avacyn turned the game around completely, and John Stern took it down.
Wow. Yeah, and it was actually 14 damage, not 12. Also, the Gideon emblem pumping up the Needle Spires on top of that. He took it.
Right.
Must have had a lot of life total to work with there.
So now going into the sideboard, I've been chatting a bit with Mike Siegrist on how this matchup works. He may not have been the best person to ask, actually, because when I asked him how his tournament was going, he said, well, he was ex-mirror, as in beating all his opponents except for all the mirror matches.
Oh, no.
But
X in the mirror. Oh, that's tough.
But he did mention that the mirror match, and this is effectively kind of a mirror match, often came down to Archangel Everson advantage. We also saw that in the previous game, so that makes sense. So just boarding in additional removal spells for the Archangel Everson, and just hoping to draw those along with Gideon. That's also quite an important card in the mirror match, along with Secure the Wastes that can easily decide a game too. That is the way to go. And he mentioned that keeping cards like Sylvan Advocate and other cheap creatures, maybe even Lamphold Butcher in order to attack early planeswalkers, was valuable as well. Because in this matchup, in the early turns, players are just building up their board, trying to get an edge with like sticking a planeswalker. So having some early creatures in order to get an advantage at that stage of the game is useful. But then once you get to the late game and people get 5 or more mana, it all comes down to Archangel Everson and removal spells for that, Tragic Arrogance to get rid of it, maybe even a Westfall Abbey transformation. But early on, it's about Hangerback Walker, Lamphold, Pacifist, and just a bunch of planeswalkers trying to get an edge in the board state.
The Advocates had taken damage from Avacyn, by the way. They took 3 each. Just to clear that up. All right,
thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, no worries. I saw it in the chat. It made sense after the fact. So Dromica's command is going to take down the opposing Hangerback Walker while putting a counter on Michael Shang's Hangerback Walker as well. Pretty big swing. Here's the Nissa for John Stern, who's down a game here.
Yeah, I still like John Stern's board position here. He has the active Planeswalker at the moment with the ability to protect it. Michael could have attacked Nissa there. Then either John has to dwindle down the loyalty on the Planeswalker, or John blocks with a Lampold Pacifist, but that gives Michael a bunch of tokens. Somewhat surprising to me that Michael did not choose to attack there. So far John has the better board. Lampold Pacifist looks at itself, it's a 4/4, so it is able to attack. Yeah, this must be the reason why Michael did not attack the Nissa with his own Hangerback Walker on the previous turn.
Right.
He wants to be able to protect his own Nissa. Not too interested in just gobbling up possibly a plant token. And now he gets all the Thopter tokens guaranteed. And he can beef them up with his Nissa. That'll work. So now Michael can send, well, at least 1 Thopter token at Nissa. Maybe he wants to send in 2 in order to play around at Rumoka's command.
Sure, just to make sure.
Yeah, just to make sure that the Nissa gets off the table to deny John Stern the global boost on the next turn. Yeah, he sent in an extra creature, may lose on some points of damage, but it's a good insurance policy.
He's going to make a plant after that, and he's left back the 1 Thopter to fight potentially. Oh, well, speaking of fighting, John Stern's Thopter is going to pick up an extra counter from Dromica's command, take down the opposing untapped Thopter, and have him with a 3-power creature that he can use to at least pressure Nissa now.
But it won't be enough to take down Nissa completely.
No.
So we may put down Nissa to 1 loyalty. And then on the next turn, Michael can keep his Thopters back to set up some good blocks. Oh,
jeez, another Dromica's command here for Stern. The first one from Shang looks pretty good, but John's really kind of made a nice comeback here with these Dromica's commands.
Yeah, 4/4 Thopter was the perfect size for taking down the Planeswalker. And now suddenly John is ahead on board. Yeah, if you would tell me that there is a 4/4 flyer on the battlefield in the mirror match, I would have to guess that it was Archangel Avacyn, but no. That's one of the biggest Thopters that I've seen in a while.
Me too. Lots of Hangerbacks in hand for Michael Shang. He's got at least 2.
So no great attacks for Michael here. Sure, the Thopter can come in, but so far Michael seems to be losing the damage race. John just has the bigger creatures on the battlefield. A 5/5 and a 4/4.
How about the third Dromica's command for Stern?
They don't stop. Or maybe a Dromoka's command in response. Oh, wow.
Wow. So that's the 5th Dromica's command of this game.
Yeah, so depending on how the targets were mentioned, it's possible that Michael was able to destroy the creature that was planning to fight on John Stern's side of the board.
That's a blowout.
Yeah.
Who's ahead now?
Hey, it's getting close.
Oh,
okay, well,
cancel that order.
Yeah. John Stern.
Wow. John Stern with the declaration in stone to take out all those tokens.
Ooh, and we see kind of a downside of splashing red in this white-green deck for Michael. He has Archangel Avacyn and Gideon in hand.
Oh no.
But only 1 white source among his lands. If Michael is able to find another white source to cast his cards, I would say that Michael will definitely have an edge in this game, but if Michael won't be able to find that white source anytime soon, then John will have the upper hand. For the time being, that is. These hangerback walkers can get out of hand quickly as well. Ooh, a tragic arrogance for Michael. Another double white card.
No way. He's got 3 double white cards, and now he's facing down Avison on the other side from Stern.
Yep.
Uh-oh. This game, too, could be slipping away from Michael. It's been a really sweet little battle.
And we see the seemingly standard, okay, Gideon make an emblem right away play here. In this deck, I haven't seen Gideon make Knight Ally tokens all that often. Ooh, and there we see the white source.
Mana. And that's going to give him tragic arrogance right now. So he went creature, artifact, enchantment there on his 3 permanents, leaving his opponent with just a plant.
Just a lone plant.
Wow, finding that plains was massive for Michael.
Yeah, that came right on time. I don't think Michael had many additional turns to find it, but he did find it in time. And now Michael seems to be way ahead.
Yeah, and
he already has the better board and now 2 powerful double white cards in hand.
You got another update from one of our other quarters. Robert Lombardi versus Bradley Robinson. Robert wins that 2-1. He's playing Esper Dragons. He's into the semis. He will join Doug Potter, who we saw on camera, and Oliver 2, who's also through with Grixis control. That means that this match that we're watching right here is our last quarterfinal match going.
All right.
And we're going to get a game 3.
So that means that in the top 4, we will have 2 green-white token decks, assuming that we also count Michael's as 1.
That was the match here? Yeah, you're totally right. That was the match.
All right, and I believe that John won that match.
Okay.
So that means that we have 2 green-white token decks in the top 4, along with Esper Dragons and Grixis Control.
All right, great stuff from the quarterfinals here from Toronto. That's going to do it for the quarters.
Whether riding the bus or waiting for the Grand Prix Finals to begin, Magic Duels is a great way to hone your skills and try new strategies. Featuring hundreds of earnable cards from Magic's latest sets and virtually unlimited AI and online opponents, start playing Magic Duels free today on iPhone, iPad, Xbox One, and Steam. In the art of Magic the Gathering Zendikar, you can experience the danger and beauty of Zendikar like never before. This lavishly illustrated hardcover book features the award-winning art of Magic the Gathering and gives you an insider's look at the secrets of Zendikar, its peoples, continents, and creatures. On sale now.